All right, guys, so in this video, I wanted to just take a step back and go through the bid optimization process from start to finish, kind of taking into account everything we've learned. I'm going to just briefly go over the step-by-step process real quick one more time, and I'll add a few more high potential targets to the bid override table and get all the way back to the upload folder and uploading it back to Amazon so you can just kind of get an idea in real time how it's going to work. So open up your copy of Apex from your Google Drive. You'll be directed right here to your settings screen. Kind of all your defaults and everything should already be in place. If you set your FBAExcel login and password up correctly, those will already be input. Now you won't have authorized this instance. You have to plug in the password, which again could potentially change depending on the version. So keep an eye in the toolbox on the members area for that. But once you're good to go, the first step is going to be get bulk sheet. And if you haven't authorized yet, then you'll get this pop-up. So just hit OK, go back to settings, authorize account, and go ahead and click that. And you should get a prompt for that. All right, now click get bulk sheet. That's going to take you over to the Amazon account. You do want to make sure you've already logged in before you run that operation. But then it's as easy as unchecking that, clicking 30-day, create spreadsheet. Again, you can do the 60-day if you prefer more data. If you do the iterative method, if you watch my other videos on going over the different algorithms, the Mino Elias's iterative method, he likes to do kind of a rolling 7-day window. So that's the place there where you make that selection. If you go to click the download, once it's done and it doesn't download, you need to come up here, hit bulk operations. And let's pretend this was my file here. You'd hit download, select from your folder for the bulk sheet downloads. I'd go ahead and save that for my daily download, hit save, and you can get out of that then and come back in here. You're going to go, file, import, but you need to make sure if you optimize like the day before, you just delete this tab each time. So it's going to create a new one when we import our new data. So I'm going to delete that. I've got this fixed file that I was using. I don't need that anymore. I'll go ahead and delete that. So file, import, and I'll go to training files. I have one here, bulk download, insert new sheet, import data. All right, and then you wait for it to import. If you got a really big bulk file, again, the step in between here is you would open up that bulk file in just a separate Google Sheet, delete your sponsored brands, delete your sponsored display campaigns, go back then and try to do the import, insert new sheet, and hopefully you don't have like more than 130,000 rows at that point. You can at least get the file in here. And then if needed, you can click on your sponsored products campaign sheet, go to performance settings, reduce imported bulk file, and use some of these. You can click multiples, like do one, then the other, whichever rows you don't want. Or hopefully you have a more manageable bulk file that you don't need to mess with any of this. And at this point, you can just click Apex initialize bulk file and click yes. All right, and then when you get the initialization complete, just hit OK. Wait for the running script to change to finished script, and then you're good to go. I usually will set this to like 75% so I can see all the columns. All right, and then if you don't have any changes you're going to make to your your SKU dashboard inputs, which are right here, or your bid override settings, which are this screen, then it's pretty quick from here. You would just come up here, optimize bids, hit Apex. That's going to adjust your bids and tell you you're good to go. Then you would just upload the new file to your Google Drive folder, which is here. And then to upload that file back to Amazon, you would come back to your bulk ops screen, which you can click this, if you remember this get bulk sheet, and it'll take you to this location. Then hit choose file, select the file, and upload it, and you're good. But let's say we do want to make some changes, add a few things. Why don't we pretend we have a series of campaigns? Let me think here. Let's do anything with the number 2 in it for the fun of it. You would typically have, actually, let's see. you would typically have like branded campaigns or defensive campaigns that let's pretend we've got branded campaigns that you can do conditions to. So contains text. Let's see, text contains the number 2, and then select all, hit OK. All right, see how all of these contain the number 2. Yours would probably say like branded or have something that signifies that those campaigns are branded campaigns. But what you want to do if we want to assign like a portfolio to all of these using bulk sheets is you'd clear that, you'd select just the campaign level because that's where you assign portfolios. You can see these already have portfolios associated with them. I've got quite a few here, so it's kind of unrealistic that all these would be branded, but never know. So it's arbitrary data, so it doesn't matter. But to get your portfolio IDs, you come over to your labs tab, and you can see the names here and the IDs. I recommend pasting in the IDs straight off, just to copy and paste, as opposed to, you wouldn't obviously want to type those in. But let's say I don't really have any that signifies branded, but let's say this group 6 is branded for the fun of it. We're going to come back to our bulk sheet, and you'll just paste in that value. And the one thing you want to be really careful of on this process here is you don't drag down and it increments by 1 like that, because you don't have those portfolio IDs created like that. So if you hold in control and let go, you can see it works. So I'm going to drag that down all the way to the bottom. I could have copied and pasted this faster, but I've already committed. All right, and just make sure you're at the bottom, let go. All right, so now all those are assigned to that portfolio. And for branded campaigns especially, you're usually going to have really high conversion rates and always get the sale unless you've got a competitor that's kind of outbidding you. So that's why you want to bid really high on these. So a quick way to do that is put all your branded campaigns in a portfolio. And just to kind of show you how the bid override table works at the portfolio level is you paste the portfolio ID in here. And then we're going to do portfolio. And let's bring in our metrics now. So we're going to sync our metrics, and it's going to bring in the all those portfolios combined to show us our metrics associated with that. So all right, our cost per click for all those together is about 18 cents, so nothing too crazy. But let's bid really high on these just because we want to make sure we always win the bid. And in this case, I'm not going to use the input settings. I'm just going to do a fixed number of $2. So every target that falls in these portfolios is going to be bid at $2 if it's searched, and that'll ensure that I always maintain the upper placement on those. So that's a good way you can do that. Again, this is arbitrary data. This is showing like a 4% conversion rate, which is unrealistic for branded campaigns, but you get the idea. Let's say I also want to add some more, I don't know, top converting targets. So I'm going to come up here, hit top targets. You could just as easily have done some manual search criteria for targets, or maybe you use the percent of sales sort and took the top performing target for each SKU. However your strategy you want to start deploying, you can kind of step through it at this time. But let's pretend, for example, I just want to grab all of these targets and put them on my bid override table. I just do this. This should also show some duplicates because I know I've already done this. So I'm going to paste values, and you'll notice that some of these show up as yellow because I have not assigned defaults, but these other ones are actually duplicates with ones I've already put on here. So you can quickly kind of tell if you have that scenario and just delete these guys. And for these other ones, you could either, again, sync your metrics and do fixed amounts, or you could copy your default inputs like this, paste them down, and assign your bid settings that way. So a lot of just different segmentation functionality that you can implement. The other thing at this step in between your initialization and then your optimization is just verifying the product level inputs are still where you want. And one slick thing you can do is there's little pluses on both the product level and the bid override table, is you can track any of these metrics that you want on each iteration cycle that you're optimizing. So let's say the previous 30 days that I've got set right now, I want to kind of keep track of my ACOS. I'll just do that, hit copy, and then I'll paste the values there. And I'll put a date here of 9/5. All right, and then tomorrow or in 2 days, I'll do the same thing. Granted, it's going to be a kind of a rolling range, but the idea is with these inputs set that you have right now, you should start seeing these values decrease if that's your goal. Your goal may be to increase sales, thereby it may be bumping up a little bit, but you get the idea. You can kind of keep track of instantaneous metrics, fully customizable. You could do ACOS and orders or however you want to do that. Same deal over here. If you come back over here, there's a plus there. You can click that. Make sure you actually click it. And you can copy your metrics from this tab here and keep track of those on a daily basis. The other thing I'll mention too is I like to have this tag as an account level, because if you deselect that and hit OK, these values up here are going to change to just like what's viewed and not filtered out. So that filtered out the account level, which is kind of that fallback default bid setting row, but you don't really care to see that in this view, because you'd like to know, usually this bid override table, since this is where a lot of your more aggressive bid settings and budgets going, this is going to be what really controls how much spend you're seeing on a daily basis, how much how many sales, and your ACOS is regulating and changing quite a bit. It's going to be due to these settings. So you want to try to monitor this and keep this at an appropriate level. So that is kind of a few little things that you can play around with these two sheets. I didn't go over the campaign level bidding, but you can just as easily bid a portfolio, grab the campaign name, plug those in. And again, the precedence is the keyword. So these type here are the keywords. If you have a multi-SKU campaign, it won't necessarily have that SKU in there, but it will say, you want to change this to keyword. Probably end up changing that to target. So if you see the word target in there, that's what you'll set it to. But precedence is on the bid override table, target or keyword, and then it's going to be campaign, and then portfolio, and then it's going to fall back to your SKU level dashboard, and then it's going to fall back to your account level dashboard. So that's kind of the order of precedence if you are utilizing the bid override dashboard. All right, and then if you accidentally have a bid override fixed amount set and your ratio set, it's going to always grab this one first. So that is it. And then after you've made your settings how you want, it's as easy again as choosing the bid algorithm that you've you set your inputs for. Typically, I'd recommend starting again with the Apex. Hit Apex, hit yes. All right, lastly, create upload file. Yes. All right, hit OK. And then either click this button here. If you've already got the window back open, you'll go to choose file. Then you'll scroll over here to your uploads folder that you created, and it'll be there. You can see the date there and the time match. So you just double click there. And after you choose it, this button here will change to upload. Just click that button and then your file will be uploaded. And then when you go to optimize your bids for the next day, obviously you'll delete this file and start back from the beginning of this video. All right, guys, thanks.